Giving your book to beta readers is one of the most important parts of the writing process, and one that I never recommend skipping. So in this video, I'm going to quickly define what a beta reader is, talk about why it's so important to get feedback from beta readers before publishing a novel or querying a novel, and then give you my advice for how you can go about finding them. And I'm going to clarify right off the top here that I am talking about real life human beta readers, not AI beta readers. You want to find people in your target readership who are the people that you want to be one day buying your book to beta read for you. You do not want to rely solely on beta reader feedback given by an AI, although that can be helpful. I have never personally done that, but I know a lot of people have used AI beta readers and have found it helpful. Just don't let that be the only beta reading feedback that you get, and that is not what I'm going to be talking about in this video. The AI beta reading programs that I have heard of are Marlowe AI, and also I know AutoCrit does this. I've never used AutoCrit's AI beta reading service, but I am curious to try it just to have another source of feedback to see if any of it resonates with me. I have tried Marlowe, and I wasn't super impressed by it, but I am going to make a separate video talking all about that and going through exactly why I didn't really like it and why I probably won't continue to use it going forward. So first, what is a beta reader? A beta reader is a reader that reads a draft of your novel before you are ready to publish it. It's essentially a reader who reads an unfinished draft while you're still working on it and gives you feedback on things that they liked, what they didn't like, just what their reactions to it were as a reader, so that you can take that feedback while you're still developing your novel and take that into consideration when revising it before you publish it or go out to query it. A beta reader is different from an alpha reader. I've never used alpha readers, but alpha readers are readers, I'm pretty sure, who will read drafts of your chapters as you're writing them. Beta readers will usually read a draft that is a little bit more defined and that has a beginning, middle, and end and is a fully completed book and can kind of stand alone on its own. Alpha readers, I'm pretty sure, will just literally read it as you write it, and beta readers, you just want to edit it a little bit more. Usually a beta reader will read your book before you send it off to an editor or get any sort of professional editing done. This is your first pass of feedback that you get if you don't use alpha readers on a book that you've written. I will never publish a book that hasn't been looked at by beta readers because the feedback that I get during the beta reading stage is so incredibly helpful. Sending a book to beta readers is so important because beta readers give you real reader feedback that editors don't often give. Beta readers are members of your target readership. They are people that you want to one day purchase your book and buy it for fun. So getting them to like the book and derive enjoyment from your book is really your ultimate goal when writing the book. At least if you write genre fiction like me. I write books and stories for the sole purpose of bringing both myself and other people enjoyment. I want these books to be really fun to read, and so I want my beta readers to have a good time reading it, and if my beta readers have a good time reading it, that typically tells me a larger audience like my beta readers will also find enjoyment from my manuscript. Beta reader feedback comes from people who would see your book on the shelf in a bookstore, buy it, read it, and then review it. They are going to tell you things that they liked, what they didn't like, characters they hated, characters they loved, where it felt slow, where it was boring, what lost them if they didn't like it, what made them not like it. And this kind of feedback can inform a revision of the book that in all cases, I would argue, will make the book stronger. It essentially lets you test your book in front of your target audience before you query it or self-publish it, so that you can get an idea as to whether or not the book is going to sell, and also can tell you if there are changes you can make to the book to make the book perform better or make the book more pleasurable or just generally have the book achieve its goal better. And getting this information before you query it or self-publish it is much better than getting it when you've sent out a million queries and agents are telling you they don't want the book, or you self-publish it and your reviews are telling you that you don't want the book. It's better to get all this information beforehand so that you can be a step ahead of that. So obviously beta reader feedback is extremely subjective. Everybody reading a book is going to have a different opinion about a book. People like different things in books, people hate different things in books, so it's important to choose your beta readers carefully and make sure that they are members of your target audience. You don't want to send your fantasy book that is written for women in their 20s to I don't know, a 60-year-old man who loves reading military sci-fi, that man is probably not going to love your fantasy book, but it doesn't necessarily mean that your fantasy book is doing anything wrong if members of your target audience love it, because women in their 20s look for different things in books than, you know, people who love reading military sci-fi. Don't come at me. Women in their 20s can also enjoy reading military sci-fi. I was just using that as an example. So if you've written a fantasy book for women in their 20s, make sure that your beta readers are women in their 20s who also like reading fantasy. Do not just find beta readers that are women in their 20s that love reading horror, because they also might not give you appropriate feedback. You might be doing exactly what is expected and good in that genre, but if your beta reader doesn't vibe with that genre, they're not going to be giving you appropriate feedback. And if your beta readers are all within your target audience, then you want to make sure that you have a large sample size. Because everybody has very subjective opinions, just because one person says something doesn't mean it's necessarily true. If you have 20 beta readers and one of them was like, I hated this main character, and 19 beta readers were like, oh, I loved her, she was so relatable and funny, your main character is probably fine. It's just probably that one beta reader that is picking up on something that they don't like about that character, and you can discard that. But if 19 of your beta readers say, I hate this character, and one of them was like, oh, I loved her, she was so quirky, you probably have a problem with your main character. And so you need to have a large enough sample size that you can figure out when to disregard pieces of feedback that only occur once and don't really resonate with you, and be able to know when to listen to pieces of feedback that are coming up in multiple pieces of feedback. When I first started publishing, finding 10 beta readers was very difficult that were in my target audience. So I started with like 4 beta readers, and now I've worked that up to 10. And hopefully going forward, I'll be able to increase that number, because I would love to be able to get close to 15 or 20. But as my platform is slowly growing, the number of people that are willing to beta read for me is also growing, which is awesome. So now we move on to the million-dollar question, which is, how do you find these beta readers? This can be really tricky when you're first starting out and you don't have a mailing list or a following on any social media platforms, but it is not impossible. I used 3 main sources to find my beta readers when I was first starting out. The first was Facebook. I joined Facebook groups. There are Facebook groups called beta readers find authors or whatever. That's not actually one, don't search for that, but ones that are meant to hook beta readers up with authors. Those exist. I would join them. Also Goodreads. There are a lot of beta readers that hang out on Goodreads, and you can post to forums or make posts in forums explaining what your book is about, and some people will reply to want to beta read that book. You need to be aware that on both of these platforms, there are people that are paid beta readers, and so they will expect compensation for beta reading, which I have done before. Sometimes I will pay someone $40 or $50 to beta read for me if it's a really, really good beta reader and I trust their feedback and they give really good feedback and I'm kind of desperate for some feedback. I will do that sometimes, or I have done that in the past. But there are also a lot of scammers in these groups. I've paid someone $40 to beta read a book and almost did not get it delivered. And then saw a post, I got the book and the comments delivered, but then the next day I saw a post in a Facebook group being do not use this person. They just scammed me all of my money and were really, really sketchy about it. So those people do exist too. I messaged that person nonstop for 2 weeks, every day, because I knew they were scamming me, and I was really, really mad about it. And I was they were being really flaky about stuff, and they were like, oh, my laptop is broken, and oh this, oh that, and I won't deliver it until I get payment. And then as soon as I pay them, they're like, not so fast, I'm not done yet, just being really kind of sketchy about stuff. Now I have a mailing list of around 3,000 people and an ARC team of early review team that oftentimes will beta read my books for me when I'm still working on them. And so that has been really amazing. And I like that a lot more because I know these people and I trust them and I know their reviews and I know that they're smack dab in the middle of my target audience. And so I can really trust their feedback. So that has been a much better strategy for me, but I did not have that when I was first starting out and publishing my book one. One strategy that I found really helpful for just starting to build a platform when I had no readers and absolutely no followers anywhere was that I ran giveaways. I'd find a bunch of best-selling books in my genre and I'd buy those books in hardcover. I used King Sumo, and I set up a giveaway where I would give away all 5 books to one lucky winner. And in order to enter the giveaway, someone just had to put their email address into the giveaway, and that person would automatically be added to my mailing list. And that was very successful. I got probably 1,500 subscribers just from doing that. And like, I don't know, I think half of them unsubscribed. So I got like 700 subscribers total from that. But that gave me a base to start marketing to. And those people kind of self-selected themselves to be fans of the kind of book that I was writing. And then those people I asked to beta read and to join my ARC team. And that's kind of how I started building a little bit of a platform. I did not find it useful at all to use Instagram to try to find beta readers when I was first starting out. Instagram is not a very good tool for trying to establish your brand and grow your platform. I found it really hard to like get organic traction on Instagram. I also found it really hard to get traction on YouTube. It took me like, I don't know, maybe 2 years, a year and a half to 2 years to just get my first 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. It was so hard, but then slowly things started creeping up. And as soon as I started really pushing my YouTube shorts, like last fall, I was at 10,000 subscribers and now I'm at 25,000 subscribers. And that just blew up. I had one short that got to 5 million views and that gave me, I think that pushed me up to like 15,000. And then I got other shorts that started popping off and like I started getting a lot more traction from that. So that was really awesome, and YouTube has started kind of pushing my videos a little more, finally, after 5 years of doing this. So that's been really, really great. But it is hard to grow and like find beta readers like when you have 0 followers on Instagram and you're just starting out. I have never tried doing this on TikTok. I know that TikTok can be a real engine for connecting you with beta readers. I just know also that it's hard to grow on TikTok. I have a TikTok account that is growing pretty well actually right now. I've been really consistent with my posting this spring. And it's been a little while since I have done that because I was finding it pretty much impossible to sell books on TikTok. But now TikTok has decided, and probably rightfully so, that my account is not about books at all and it's just about writing. So it pushes all of my content to other writers, and any video I make about writing or writing tips or relatable writing content gets pushed out to people organically, and then anything I do mentioning my books at all is like it completely dies and nobody sees it. So I think that on TikTok you have to kind of pick a niche right off the bat, which as an author is kind of hard. Like you have to either only talk about books or only talk about your writing, and just only do that on your account, just to make it really clear to TikTok what your account is and who the people who are responding to your videos will be. I also hate to say this because it's really annoying, but also not all book genres do well on TikTok. TikTok tends to reward books that are more risque or taboo or shocking or really dark and just like have something in it that just makes you go like react to it. Those videos and books tend to go viral. And unless your book has elements like that, it's a lot harder to gain traction on TikTok. And also a lot of people on TikTok really like spicy romance. Like an example of a concept that does really well on TikTok would be like, I don't know, like you're fairies and like in a fairy prison and the evil queen is like making you like hook up with each other, like perform the act together with the other really hot fairy in the jail in front of an audience, and you don't want to, but there's like magic that makes you really turned on, and like all of a sudden like you feel really attracted to this fairy in the jail and everyone's looking at you. That's gonna do a lot better than a hook like anything in my books. Like, oh, a boy has gone missing and a ghost might have the secret. Like, that's not as gut punch shocking as like, oh, I might have to like do the deed with like another fairy in front of like the entire court that's watching us right now. Like, it's just that it has to elicit some sort of reaction. And so not every single book, I think, is really cut out to do well on TikTok. Obviously, there are always exceptions to every rule. This is not a hard and fast rule. This is just what I have learned from my many years of experimenting and trying to make They Stay go viral on TikTok. It did not work. Now in my new series, I'm being more cognizant of that and trying to tie in shocking elements that will make really good TikTok hooks for when I want to market my new series. I'm writing it also for an older audience because I found that real teenagers often like to read older than their same age. Like I was reading The Hunger Games when I was like 10 and I wanted to read about 16-year-olds, and 16-year-olds don't really want to read about 16-year-olds. They want to read about like 19 or 20-year-olds, and you know, so do so do I, honestly. Like, I read so many books where the characters are like 19 and 20. So that is kind of the age that I'm targeting now, like for my main characters. And I'm making it more spicy, I'm making it more shocking, and just putting like some more elements of books that I react to on TikTok. And then once I kind of have a product that I'm happy with, and once I have a book that has hooks in it, I'm going to create a new TikTok account dedicated only to talking about books and grow that one, I think, from the ground up and see how that does, which is going to be a bit of a project. But I think that's the only way that I'm going to get any traction on TikTok, because nothing I post on my Clear Fraise author writing TikTok is going to get any traction at all if it has anything to do with the books. That's kind of where I'm at with TikTok. That was like a little bit of a side quest, but that is my general thought. Like, you can totally do that if you start a TikTok account and your book is hooky and you think it's gonna like have the elements that could make it go viral. I'd recommend doing that and just seeing if you can get videos that start having traction. Like, it can literally be you filming your face in like a dark room with just text on the screen, and that can be like, you know, the hooks about your book, and you can see if it does well. A lot of videos like that do really, really well, and that's how books start to get traction on TikTok. On another side note, it is very interesting how TikTok has become such a driver of book sales and such an engine for connecting authors to readers. It's like both a really cool thing because it puts indie authors on a similar playing field as traditionally published authors. Like, if you can connect to readers directly and build a platform where you have like a following on TikTok and you are able to like actually build that direct communication with your readers, that is very appealing to a traditional publisher, because that's really what traditional publishers want, is authors that are able to sell directly to their readers and like do a lot of the marketing for them. But it's also making books and like the things that are written about and included in books lean a lot more toward things that will go viral. Like, books and concepts are becoming more shocking and more this and more that because people are trying to like come up with the idea that goes viral. It's just interesting the role that that's playing in shaping what this like what commercial literature is doing right now and what is really popular in books. It's annoying because I'm sure I'm gonna get comments on this video like, oh, you're selling your soul and, you know, you're just like kowtowing to the masses and this, that, and the other. And it's like, okay, but also I like reading those things in books, and it's like they're going viral for a reason, and it is really fun for me to include that and those kind of more hooky elements into my books, and I'm having a really, really good time writing this book. Like, I haven't been this giddy writing a book in years. Like, I don't remember the last time I was this giddy writing a book. I'm having so much fun with it. And that's really what this is about to me. I'm not trying to write the next great American novel. I am not trying to like make history with my writing. I am just trying to write stories that make me happy and bring me pleasure and bring my readers pleasure and make them happy. And, you know, I want to have the kind of book that like people will read when they want to comfort read, when they want to feel something, when, you know, it's like it makes them feel enough that they want to make fan art of it and that they want to talk about it and just fangirl over it. And like, that is my goal with writing. Sometimes I have things that I want to say, and I write stories in order to like be mechanisms for saying the things that I want to say and like making statements that I want to make about stuff. And I have done that before, and I do that, and they stay. But I always want to do that within the number one goal, which is just to write something that makes me happy and makes other people happy and that is fun, because writing can be play, and I think it's one of the most fun things in the world to create a world and characters that are your own, and, you know, a story that like makes you like want to kick your feet or throw the book across the room. Some of the strongest feelings I've ever had in my life are feelings that I've had from reading books and from writing books and creating scenes, and that is just, it fills me with very deep meaning. And I don't know, I don't have anything like super profound to say, but that's what I would say to anybody who's going to comment on this saying like, you're selling your soul, because that is not what's happening. Because me and my soul are very happy with my who did this to you trope-filled fun stories. Like, have you ever seen that meme that like the little like Minions meme that was like, this story that you're about to be told has been told before a lot? that's pretty much what most of these books are. They're like kind of popping off and going viral, but I eat them up every time because I read tons and tons of books and I tear through series and they're just really, really fun and bring me a lot of joy and pleasure. Okay, I'm getting off my soapbox now. That was my video on beta readers. I hope that that was helpful to you. If it was, I'd be super grateful if you could like it and also subscribe to my channel. My name is Fraise. I am an award-winning author who has written a 5-book paranormal thriller series and who makes videos on this channel sharing actionable writing tips that helped me make my own writing better. I can link some Facebook beta reading groups in the comments of this video. I actually got banned from one once for a really dumb reason. Like, there are a ton of people in that group that were posting their like book covers with the notice to like, or the request to beta read. Like they'd like post the book cover and they say like beta readers wanted for my mermaid story. And it was a book cover with like a mermaid's tail on it. And one of the group rules was like no self promo, but I figured because everybody else was doing it, I did it. And I was like, I put my book cover on there and I was like, I'm looking for beta readers, you know, for the second book in the series or whatever. And then it got flagged by the admin and the admin was like, no self-promo. And I was like, but everybody else is doing it. And they were like, well, I'll give you one more chance to resubmit. And I resubmitted it and I changed my wording, but I didn't take off the book cover because I didn't think that was self-promo because everybody else was doing it. And then they just banned me with no explanation. So I'm still a little salty about that. I've never been banned from a Facebook group before, but I can't link you to that one, but I can link you to the other ones that I'm still a part of. If you want to do paid beta readers, I'm pretty sure Readsy also might have a network of people, but I'm pretty sure they call them like manuscript assessments. They're not quite the same thing as beta readers, and anybody who's advertising their services on Readsy is more of like an editing professional, and the whole point of getting a beta reader feedback is to try to get to readers directly to see what they would think about the book. So try to stay away from that if you can. And this is also one of the reasons that I tend to try to stay away from paid beta readers is because I'm really trying to find people who like to read in my genre for fun and who are just like willing to do this just for funsies, just because they like reading stories like this. But that's also why I feel like it's my responsibility to write a book that's as good as possible before sending it to them. Like, I don't want to send them like a nightmare draft. I want to actually have an idea of what I'm doing and send them a completed story. Like, it can be rough, it will be rough, and there'll be like some sticky prose, and I'm not going to spend like an inordinate amount of time trying to polish it when I know that it's not going to be the final version of the book. But I want it to like be good enough that they can read it for funsies without having a terrible time. So anyway, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. I hope you have a fantastic week, everybody, and as always, happy writing.